From death-defying feats to spiritual quests, monks have been pushing the boundaries of human potential for centuries. In the remote, icy Himalayan peaks, ancient monks have been reportedly found alive, sitting in deep meditation and untouched by time.
You have power of levitation.
What secrets are they guarding? And why are they hidden in isolation? Today we're exploring the world of mysterious monks and uncovering the jaw-dropping stories behind their legendary powers. In 2015, researchers examining a 1,000-year-old statue in the Netherlands made a shocking discovery. The mummified remains of Buddhist master Liuquan were encased inside. But here's the surprising part. Liuquan wasn't placed inside the statue after death. He had become the statue. Liuquan was a Chinese monk from the Mingju temple in Fuzhou and one of the rare practitioners who underwent self-mummification. For years, Liuquan followed a diet designed to strip his body of all fat and moisture. He abandoned regular food, surviving only on nuts, seeds, bark, and roots. But starvation wasn't enough. He drank a poisonous tea brewed from the sap of the lacquer tree, slowly infusing his body with toxins that would repel bacteria and insects. This effectively preserved his tissues before death. Then came the final step. Liuquan sealed himself inside a stone chamber, entering deep meditation. Each day, he rang a small bell to signal that he was still alive. Then, one day, the bell stopped. The chamber was left untouched for years as the monks waited and hoped. If Liuquan had succeeded, he would be revered as an enlightened master. When researchers uncovered his remains inside the statue, they used CT scans and endoscopy to reveal his body. They also discovered scraps of paper inscribed with ancient Chinese characters, rather than cryptic wall carvings. These texts may have been prayers or scriptures, though some scholars speculate they contained esoteric teachings. Bodhidharma is said to have meditated in silence before a cave wall for 9 years, unmoved by hunger, cold, or time itself. His teachings shaped Chan, Zen, Buddhism, and later became linked, though more by legend than fact, to the beginnings of Shaolin martial arts. Born in India, likely in the south, and sometimes identified as a prince of the Pallava dynasty, he traveled to China in the early 6th century, seeking to strip away illusion and awaken people to truth. There he encountered monks, scholars, and Emperor Wu of Liang from 502 to 549. When the emperor asked what merit he had gained by building temples and spreading Buddhism, Bodhidharma replied, "None whatsoever." The answer shocked the court and revealed his rejection of worldly validation. At the Shaolin Monastery in Hōnen, tradition holds that he meditated in a nearby cave for 9 years. His uncompromising discipline became a symbol of Zen's intensity. Later accounts claim Bodhidharma introduced exercises to strengthen the Shaolin monks, whose bodies were too weak for long meditation. Over centuries, these practices blended with existing traditions, evolving into Shaolin martial arts. Though historians question his direct role, the legend persists, Bodhidharma as both the father of Zen and the spiritual ancestor of Shaolin Kung Fu. In 11th century Tibet, religious knowledge was often limited by distance and language barriers. Marpa Lotsawa, whose title Lotsawa means translator, dedicated his life to bridging those gaps. Born around 1012, he made several arduous journeys to India and Nepal, crossing the Himalayas on foot and facing dangers from harsh terrain and bandits. This was not a mere academic study. Marpa became a devoted disciple of great Indian masters, most notably Naropa and Maitripa. Under their guidance, he received transmissions of advanced tantric teachings, which required not just intellectual understanding but personal transformation. Before receiving the final empowerments, Marpa had to demonstrate unwavering commitment and spiritual readiness. On returning to Tibet, he translated many of these teachings from Sanskrit into Tibetan, preserving both their literal meaning and their experiential depth. His translations became cornerstones for practitioners seeking authentic Buddhist instruction. Marpa's most famous disciple was Milarepa, later revered as Tibet's greatest poet and yogi. To purify Milarepa's negative karma from earlier misdeeds, Marpa subjected him to grueling trials such as building and dismantling stone towers before conferring the profound teachings. Through these efforts, Marpa established the foundations of the Kagyu school of Tibetan Buddhism, which continues to flourish today. His legacy ensured that the wisdom of India's great siddhas was transmitted to Tibet, preserved and passed down through generations. The Karmapa, head of the Karma Kagyu lineage of Tibetan Buddhism, is revered as a living stream of wisdom carried through successive incarnations. In June 1985, in Lathok, Kham, eastern Tibet, a son was born to a nomadic family. His birth was marked by signs. His mother dreamt of divine beings. A cuckoo landed on their tent, and a conch-like sound echoed through the valley. The boy was named Apo Gaga, Happy Brother. At 7 years old, in 1992, he told his parents to move their camp to another valley. Soon afterward, Kagyu Lamas arrived. Guided by a prophecy letter left by the 16th Karmapa, Rangjong Ripi Dorje, describing his rebirth's year, location, and parents. All signs confirmed Apo Gaga as the Tulku, the reincarnated 17th Karmapa. He was recognized as Ogyen Trinley Dorje, his identity confirmed by the 14th Dalai Lama and leading Kagyu masters. The Chinese government also acknowledged him in 1992, a rare convergence of spiritual and political recognition. Central to his lineage is the Black Crown ceremony, a tradition linked to the Buddha Vajradhara. The crown, said to be woven from celestial hair, symbolizes the Karmapa's enlightened activity. When he dons it, devotees believe its power radiates an energy that bridges the human and the sacred. And before we continue unfolding this fascinating discovery, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Don't forget to share it with your friends too. It helps the channel out, and I'm excited to continue bringing you more awesome content. Shri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, born Gadadhar Chattopadhyay in the village of Kamarpukur near Kolkata, then Calcutta, grew up in a poor but devout Hindu family. Early in life, he became the priest of the Dakshineshwar Kali temple, where his intense devotion to the goddess Kali often brought him into states of spiritual ecstasy. Hour after hour, he immersed himself in prayer, chanting, and meditation, sometimes losing awareness of the outer world. Ramakrishna's spiritual quest was not limited to Hinduism. With the same sincerity, he practiced Christian devotion, meditating on Jesus Christ and experiencing visions of him. He also followed Islamic practice, repeating the name of Allah in prayer and entering states of deep absorption. For him, these paths led to the same truth, the realization of God through love and surrender. His life became a testimony to the harmony of religions. Among his disciples, the most influential was Swami Vivekananda, who carried his master's message abroad. Through lectures in the West, particularly at the Parliament of the World's Religions in Chicago in 1893, Vivekananda introduced Ramakrishna's vision of universal spirituality to a global audience. He later founded the Ramakrishna Mission and Ramakrishna Math, institutions dedicated to education, service, and the integration of spiritual and social uplift. Ramakrishna preferred to teach through parables, stories, and direct experience rather than rigid doctrine. His message remains timeless: devotion need not be narrow, and all sincere paths can lead to the divine. Today, his teachings continue to inspire seekers across traditions. Some figures in history leave behind words, temples, or scriptures. In the 15th century, Lama Sangha Tenzin left behind something even more extraordinary: himself. Revered locally as a living Buddha, his devotion to his people was remembered as an ultimate act of sacrifice. According to tradition, he was a monk of great wisdom who, facing a threat to his village in Spiti Valley, Himachal Pradesh, India, chose to enter deep meditation and never awaken, offering his life as spiritual protection. Over time, his body naturally mummified, astonishing those who later uncovered it. Centuries later, in 1975, a powerful earthquake in the Spiti region dislodged a tomb near Gya village, where villagers discovered his remarkably preserved remains. Even after more than 500 years, his body, seated in meditation posture, was found largely intact, with skin, hair, and nails still visible. For the people of Gya, this was more than a physical body. It was a sign that Lama Sangha Tenzin's spirit still protected them. His mummified form continues to inspire reverence, seen as a reminder that devotion and sacrifice can transcend even death. For centuries in Japan, enlightenment was often seen as the privilege of the elite. Monks studied in mountaintop temples while farmers and outcasts were told salvation was beyond reach. Then came Hōnen, whose teachings reshaped Japanese Buddhism. Born in Mimasaka Province, now Okayama, he entered the Tendai school on Mount Hiei, excelling in scripture and discipline. Yet he saw that such practices were inaccessible to most. Seeking a universal path, he turned to Pure Land Buddhism, centered on devotion to Amida Buddha. Hōnen taught that salvation did not rely on scholarship or austerity but was available to all through reciting Amida's name, Namu Amida Busu. This simple but radical teaching challenged the established schools and gave common people new hope. By 1207, his growing influence provoked opposition. Pressured by Buddhist authorities, Emperor Go-Toba ordered his exile to Tosa province, and several disciples were executed. Yet the movement spread despite suppression. Before he died in 1212, Hōnen established the Pure Land School, which remains one of Japan's largest Buddhist traditions. His vision, that liberation is open to anyone through faith in Amida, continues to inspire millions. In 2015, a discovery in the steppes of Mongolia drew worldwide attention. A monk's body, estimated at 200 years old, was found seated upright in meditation. Clothed in robes and remarkably preserved, he appeared almost lifelike. Scholars suggested the dry climate and sub-zero temperatures helped preserve the body naturally. Some Buddhists linked it to Tukdam, a meditative state in Tibetan tradition where vital functions slow almost to stillness while the mind remains absorbed. Tukdam is usually said to last days or weeks, not centuries, raising debate about the cause. Scientists proposed natural mummification, with cold conditions delaying decay, while others speculated that a monastic diet and herbal preparations might have limited bacterial growth. For local believers, the monk's state was more than preservation, it was proof of his spiritual accomplishment, showing devotion strong enough to transcend normal limits. The body has been associated with the Gelugpa Lama Dashi Dorjo Itijilov, though this is often confused with his separate case in Buryatia, Russia, where his preserved body was exhumed in the 20th century. Both examples highlight the enduring mystery of such phenomena. Whether explained by science or faith, the Mongolian find has reignited reflection on the borders of life, death, and spiritual practice, standing as a striking testament to Buddhist dedication. Xuyun was not just a Buddhist master but a bridge between centuries. Born in 1840, he lived through the last days of the Qing dynasty, the fall of the empire, the Republican era, and the rise of modern China. Through it all, his commitment to Chan practice remained unshaken. From a young age, he chose a life of strict discipline, devoting himself to meditation and ascetic practice. His journeys on foot took him thousands of miles across China and beyond, often through mountains and rivers, where he endured hardship in pursuit of spiritual truth. Xuyun was also instrumental in restoring and reviving Buddhist monasteries damaged by war and neglect. Among his greatest achievements was the restoration of Yunmen Monastery in Guangdong, along with significant work at Namputuo Temple in Jiamen and Zhenru Monastery in Jiangxi. These efforts helped preserve Chan Buddhism in a time of decline. He lived through immense political upheaval. During the communist suppression of religion in the 1950s, he was beaten and tortured in 1951 at Yunmen Monastery, leaving him gravely injured. Despite this, he responded with compassion rather than hatred, embodying the principles he taught. Xuyun's teachings emphasized the heart of Chan Buddhism, not intellectual study, but direct experience through meditation and mindfulness. His simple, piercing words guided disciples toward genuine realization. His influence extended beyond China, as his efforts to preserve Chan practice contributed to the vitality of Zen in Japan and the spread of meditation worldwide. His life stands as a testament that wisdom endures beyond time, politics, and oppression. Some renounce wealth, others comfort. Saint Anthony the Great renounced the world itself. Born into a Christian family in Coma, near Heracleopolis in Egypt, he inherited wealth but chose instead a life of prayer, solitude, and faith in the desert. His journey became the foundation of Christian monasticism. The desert was no easy refuge. According to tradition, Anthony's greatest trials were not hunger or thirst, but spiritual battles with demons, who assailed him with visions, temptations, and terrifying apparitions. Yet Anthony persevered with prayer, fasting, and unwavering faith. Though he sought solitude, Anthony's reputation spread across Egypt. People of all walks, soldiers, peasants, and the wealthy, came to him for healing, counsel, and guidance. Many became his disciples, adopting his way of life. His example showed that the desert, a place of hardship, could also be a place of spiritual transformation. Anthony lived to about 105 years old, dying in 356 AD. As he requested, his two close disciples buried him in an unmarked grave, hidden to prevent his body from becoming an object of veneration. His legacy was to be his teachings and example, not a shrine. Anthony's solitary quest became the model for Christian monks. Through his life of simplicity, self-denial, and prayer, he inspired the rise of monasticism, a tradition that endures as a path for those seeking a deeper connection with God. At Wat Kunaram, a Buddhist temple on Thailand's Koh Samui Island, visitors encounter the preserved body of Luang Pho Daeng, a revered monk who passed away in 1973. His remains, seated in a meditative posture within a glass enclosure, have remained remarkably intact for over 5 decades. Born in 1894, Luang Pho Daeng led a life devoted to Buddhist teachings. After raising a family, he returned to monastic life in his later years, eventually becoming the abbot of Wat Kunaram. He was known for his strict adherence to meditation and ascetic practices. Prior to his passing, Luang Pho Daeng expressed a wish: if his body were to decompose, it should be cremated. However, if it remained preserved, it should be displayed as a symbol of the impermanence of life and the value of spiritual practice. To this day, his body shows minimal signs of decay. The preservation is attributed to his disciplined lifestyle and the environmental conditions. To make the display less unsettling, sunglasses have been placed over his eyes. Wat Kunaram continues to be an active place of worship, attracting both devotees and tourists. The mummified monk serves as a poignant reminder of the transient nature of life and the enduring impact of spiritual dedication. High in the towering Tibetan plateau, where air is thin and temperatures drop dangerously low, stands Rongbuk Monastery, known as the highest monastery on earth. In this harsh, snowbound wilderness lives a nameless monk who has made this freezing solitude his spiritual home. He lives without fire, without solid shelter, and with no regular food. Each morning, long before sunrise, he steps outside into the brutal cold, scooping snow into his bare hands. With patience, he melts it using only his body heat, drinking it slowly, as if receiving something sacred. Travelers who've reached this remote place say he barely eats, if at all. Instead, his strength comes from deep meditation and disciplined mantra practice. His chants float through the icy wind, not to be heard by others, but to connect inwardly with what he calls a divine force. Though some associate this force with Shiva, the energy of destruction and renewal, his focus is not on survival but transformation. He renounces warmth, comfort, and even the instinct for self-preservation. Through this surrender, he feels deeply protected, not by walls but by the vast stillness around him. In a place where most could not last a single day, this monk finds peace. His story reveals how faith, discipline, and inner stillness can turn even the harshest environment into sacred ground. These 12 extraordinary monks represent something far greater than individual stories of devotion. Have you ever encountered anything similar in your travels or studies? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.